Welcome back to the Gun Collective podcast. My name is John Patton. Boys and girls, we have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go. It's going to get serious real quick. I can't wait. First up, let me give a quick thank you to our sponsors tonight, NEOMAG, the makers of the NEOMAG. It's a magnetic pocket magazine holder. And of course, the TGC Patriots over at patreon.com/The Gun Collective. Before we get started tonight, I want to introduce my co-host, the Sultan of SWAT, the Great Bambino, the Caliph of Clout, the Behemoth of Bust. None of those nicknames apply to him at all. None of them. Say hello to Johnny Bragg. Johnny, how are you?
I am just absolutely psyched and pumped to be here. You know that. And my favorite part of the show already tonight, besides laser beams, is that you just said that NEOMAG is the maker of NEOMAG.
Yeah, well, I mean, how else do you explain it? It's a very unique product. And of course, we've got a guest tonight. He is the owner of a company that makes one of the coolest training tools that I've ever seen. It's called LASR, or Laser Activated Shot Reporter. Yes, laser beams are involved. Let's give a warm TGC welcome to John Wallace of Shooter Technology Group. John.
Hey, John.
Hey.
Great to be here. I'm really happy to be on the show. I do want to point out that we have a trio of Jons tonight.
Yes, the maximum amount of Johns allowed by law, perhaps.
Yeah,
we're really pushing the boundaries here tonight. I want to know, John, how is things? You and I have known each other for a little bit, but we never get to hang out. How's things in Nebraska tonight?
It is cold and snowing, so second snowfall of the year. And I get to drive to Tulsa tomorrow to the Vanamacher Arms Show. So if you're going to be there, be sure to stop by and say hi.
Oh, that'll be cool. Anybody that is checking us out live, shout out to everybody in the live chat. If you're watching live and you're in the Tulsa area, be sure to check out the gun show and, of course, swing by the laser booth. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. There's a bunch of new guns. There's a bunch of new products. Johnny, are you ready?
Yeah, I really am ready. And also to jump on what you just said, big hello to everyone in the chat. If you've got things to say or things to ask tonight, myself and Izzy and one of the Johns, we're going to be watching what you guys say in the chat room. So sound off in there. Let us know your questions or what you say. We'll kind of watch through that as we go along. And then maybe if you've got something really, really good, we might even answer one of your questions. So excited about that. John, tell us about these new guns.
So first up, we're going to be talking about the SCAR. And, you know, this is one of those rifles that has kind of gotten its own like cult around it. It's got this weird like culture going for it. For whatever reason, nobody seems to like the SCAR 16. Everybody just kind of laughs at that gun and goes, why does it exist? But then when you talk about the SCAR 17, things get a little bit different. The 7.62 308 version gets people pumped up. I love that gun. I think it's one of the best semi-auto 308s on the market. And now FN has brought to market a very unique variant of that gun. It's called the Mark 20 or 20S. They, you know, it's all these military names, blah, blah, blah. The reality is it's got some different features over the standard Mark 17 or 17S. It's a 308 like the other one. It's got a 10-round mag instead of the 20-round mag. And here's the interesting part. It has a side-folding kind of precision stock and a 20-inch barrel. So basically, this is a big DMR version of the SCAR 17, and the MSRP is everybody's favorite. Not only is it the same and better, it is $4,500. Good God. John, what do you think about that, brother? What are you a SCAR fan?
Me, I have only ever put about 20 rounds through a SCAR. I think that they're a bit on the heavy side and they're a bit on the bulky side. Honestly, the bulk is the worst part. What I find interesting here, though, is that price on that on the SCAR 20S. I mean, you can get a good like GA precision rifle for that, for less than that, for just the rifle. I'd have to handle it. I'd have to shoot it to tell you. I used to shoot PRS. A lot of people don't know that.
I did not know that. That's real.
Series.
Okay.
I kind of got out of it because it's very expensive to practice. It's not that expensive to go shoot the matches. It's very expensive and time-consuming to go practice. It'd be interesting, though. I'd definitely give it a try. Say that.
Yeah, I think it has a lot of potential if it's as accurate as everybody wants it to be. It'd be very cool. It does actually come with a 2-stage super SCAR trigger from Geisley, which is added value. The receiver, the upper receiver, is actually extended. Instead of having a rail to add on or whatever, this is all a monolithic unit that's extended. And there's a couple other features that are different and cool. But, Johnny, do those features make it matter to you?
I think with the SCAR 17 that once the internet told me that the stock looks like a robot boot and that's all you can literally see. On the new one, I think this 20S, at least the stock is kind of cool. I mean, to pay $4,000 for a gun that I can't even look at, I think it's a doggone cool gun. I love SCARs. It's a gun for me personally that I'm going to shoot at industry events when I'm shooting other people's ammo and really, really enjoy. But I love seeing them on Instagram. I mean, there's no reason for me to own it other than it's stupid. And you and I both love stupid guns. And for that reason, yeah, I'm kind of in.
Yeah, I'm absolutely in. I don't know that I would pay $4,500 for it. I have a lot of trouble paying that much money for an unproven gun because we don't know how this thing will shoot. I'm trying to find it. It looks like it comes with somebody's fancy muzzle device on there, but I can't see it up close, and I can't tell whose it is.
It looks like it might be a QD.
Yeah, it looks like it might be a suppressor QD, which would be really cool.
Anybody that buys that gun, they're going to suppress it immediately, I would imagine.
If you have a brain, you're putting a can on that thing, and you're doing it out ultra mega cool, like you should. I mean, you really should do a whole bunch of cool stuff to this. You should put a really big optic on there. You should go out and shoot that thing 1,000 yards because it'd be cool. And that's the reality of it. But I don't know if that's going to be the one that kind of runs away from the 17, but I think it has potential to be really cool and kind of its own unique cult culture around it. Very cool. We've got some more stuff. Johnny, you've tested the CMMG ripstock, yeah?
I did. I had the CMMG ripstock before it even came to market, and that was kind of cool. And so the new one that just came out is the new CMMG rip brace. Tell me about it, John.
So essentially, they've taken that same concept where instead of having to push the button and then move it out, you just pull and you rip it out and it opens up. It comes with the SBA3 brace and I guess whatever internal settings they have. I think it's actually the buffer tube that allows you to pull and just rip out. For that, it's $200. And you get a brace for a pistol. And I think that's pretty cool to be able to quickly pull that out. I don't know that I'm like, oh my God, I gotta have this thing. But I think it's cool, like a cool add-on if you want to just add a little bit of flair to an extended pistol brace.
Yeah, and you're right. It's the entire buffer tube, the entire system. I don't have one here with me, but you can compress it all the way in. And then when you grab it out from underneath your Hyundai seat, you can grab the stock and you grab it and you can rip it and it'll stop right at the exact place for you to really get in and turn into a pipe hitter and do your best Garand thumb imitation. Here, I'm going to say this. I haven't tested the rip brace, but the rip stock, really well made, absolutely excellent. For me, and this sounds like a plug, but it's not. CMMG for me has really gone up over the last year or two. I mean, they keep impressing me, and just every time I'm at industry events and stuff, I love their stuff. And so, yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, I don't see a lot of, for a soccer dad, any reason for me to have it. But if you put one in front of me, I ain't going to say no to it.
Right. John, what do you think about the concept of an adjustable pistol brace? Is that something that's on your radar? Do you care about
anything that gives a middle finger to the ATF and the NFA is good in my book. If I'm being, just for me personally, though, here in Nebraska, I live in a rural area, and it's pretty easy for me to get the sheriff's signature. Sure. So doing an SBR isn't that difficult for me. And you're talking about the same price as a tax stamp here. Now, of course, then you have you also actually get more than just a tax stamp out of it. But overall, I personally don't own any pistol braces. I know a lot of guys that do. This looks like a good quality product, and the rapid deployment, if you will, to be super tactical over here. That's definitely a good, useful aspect. I know a lot of ranchers and farmers that keep gun trucks. A lot of them are ARs, and they would like to be able to shorten it up to stick it behind the seat. And
sure,
it's a good option for them.
Yeah, and the SBA3 that they're utilizing here is probably one of the best made braces that I've ever laid hands on. You know, every time they come out with something new, they keep evolving, and this is the latest iteration of that. And I'm pretty pumped about it. I think it's a neat combination of products, like the ripstock. I saw that at SHOT Show 2017, maybe. Maybe it was this past year, 2018. Doesn't matter. It was a cool product, and seeing it now in brace form just makes perfect sense. Let's keep it moving. Ed Brown, everybody's favorite expensive 1911s, have brought out what they're calling a more affordable version. So normally, yeah, everybody roll your eyes. I can hear your brains rolling over now. This one is called the Evo KC9, and what they're doing is kind of making a smaller, lighter, more tuned to 9mm gun. So the idea is that it's essentially a 9mm 1911, and instead of it being based off a 45, it's shrunk down to be a 9. They're also stating that because of new advancements they've made in efficiency in manufacturing, they're all still hand-built, but they've somehow brought the price down to a meager $18.95 out the door. Oh my God, is that expensive for a handgun? But I mean, they're fantastic handguns. Johnny, are you a 1911 guy? Do you care?
I am. I'm not 90, so no. The good thing about that new price is that you can buy a Jam Factory for 30% less.
I'm honestly excited about it. I want to put my hands on this thing. I love the grips that it comes with. They have like there are some signature grip. I don't know what it is, but it looks really cool. I think it's a clean looking gun. 9mm 1911s are also the best 1911s. I don't care what anybody says, unless it's a 10mm or a 9mm. It ain't worth it. John, what do you think about a little bobtail 9mm 1911? Is that on your radar? Or are you just like, screw that, I'm getting a Glock?
If I'm being completely honest, I prefer my guns to be designed within the past, half century.
Honesty matters.
The appeal of the 1911s. They are pretty easy to shoot. They got nice triggers and everything. There's a lot of good qualities about them. A lot of people like the thumb safety. That's great. Like, I'm not going to knock anybody for liking a safety.
Sure.
But one of the things that I find kind of funny is, they're trying to say that it's cheaper, but then they went and put these like super custom grips on there. I mean, if you're really trying to offer a more budget option, wouldn't you go with a more generic grip?
Sure.
I don't know.
Oh, I mean, how do you get more affordable as a custom gun builder? Really, it's like they're all hand built. So how do you get more affordable without sacrificing what the brand stands for? That's a difficult thing, I would assume. And I think you made a great point about guns that are designed, in the last century. I don't know, man. I think 9mm 1911s have their place.
Yeah,
Certainly.
and to be clear, I'm absolutely drooling over this gun. Heck yeah, I would love it. I mean, it's fun to make fun of 1911s, but it is freaking gorgeous. Those grips make me angry, but everything else about it just looks fantastic. That'd be a rad gun to have.
Yeah, and so here's the other interesting thing about this. There, in the text on the website, it says this is the first model in the new Evolution series from Ed Brown. Now, this being the first one, they didn't really hint as to what is going to be next, but I suspect it'll be a bunch of more affordable 1911s in various forms, or it could be a bunch of 9mm 1911s that are kind of tuned around that same size frame and very slim and small and all that sort of stuff. Either way, I think it's cool to see the custom market advancing just as much as the kind of high production market is catching up. Very cool. Johnny, what's next on our thing here?
Laser beams.
Laser beams are next?
All right. Not really, but I just really wanted to say that. I did. It's the new Franklin Armory. The new Franklin Armory CA7. It's approved on the California handgun roster, so our Cali folks and friends out there can get excited about that, because I know they really do. I know we like making fun of California, but they really do have a tough row to hoe out there. It looks really cool. John, what do you think?
So go ahead, John.
Which see, I told you we're getting confused with the Jons here.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, brother.
I feel for the people in California. I really do. Because I know I've been in that state, and I know that the vast majority of the state outside of the major cities is definitely on the other side of the fence in the issue. So I'm happy that they still can get some things there. That's about all I can say about it.
Yeah, and they can shoot guns. They can have fun. I mean, I've got friends out there absolutely that have fun with guns, and I just think it's so unfortunate when people jump in chat rooms and immediately say, well, you should move. Well, it doesn't work like that, champ, because you
got family and investments and
your job, and maybe it's your home. Yeah, it's your home. Yeah, hey, buddy, leave your home. Well, you can't. So pretty cool. There's a lot of companies doing stuff. Franklin Armory, I think, is doing a good job. I've never had any experience with that. Patton, what do you think about Franklin Armory?
So this one is really interesting. First of all, Franklin Armory is the same company that makes the binary triggers that everybody's freaking out about, right? They also made something really strange that never made it to market. And I don't know that it will. It was a straight, it's not rifling because it's not actually spinning, but it was straight lens and grooves that they were going to release. And it was basically an SBR that's not an SBR because instead of having rifling, whatever. That was shot show last year.
The football bullets?
Yeah, little football bullets.
And they all went sideways.
Yeah, yeah. So here's the thing. The CA7 is an AR pistol, right? We all, oh, it's an AR pistol, no big deal. It's on the California handgun roster. And my understanding is that it's the only AR pistol on the handgun roster. That is why this is important. This is not a bone standard AR pistol. This is on the freaking handgun roster. Welcome to 2019, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. This is ridiculous. I think it's cool. So let me describe it for the listening audience. Imagine an AR pistol, and instead of using a brace or anything like that, they're going old school, and it's got kind of a bike grip on the buffer tube, you know, the foam bike grips from the early 90s. And then, of course, a short M-LOK handguard up front. Everything else is bog standard A2 grip, forged receivers, blah, 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 blah. Still, for $935 MSRP, ouch, first of all, ouch. And second of all, very interesting that California approved this. This went through a process to get on that roster. Very interesting to me. And I'd be curious to see what the audience has to say about that. We've got some other new stuff, this time from Kimber. So Kimber, makers of fancy 1911s, they're branching out over the last few years because they realize people are caring less and less about 1911s, as per Johnny's statements. You kind of get that. But they are still being Kimber and making some weird stuff that maybe people will want to buy. First up, they've got the K6S, which is their revolver, and they've been expanding that over the few, I guess it was maybe 2 years, last 2 years, I think it's been out. This one is the DASA, so double action, single action version, and it's got an exposed hammer. So this is getting closer to a traditional revolver that we all know and love. And I think it's interesting because they definitely did not start out that way. It was supposed to be a small concealed carry revolver. And here we are seeing it kind of evolving backwards into what everybody else is making. Johnny, any thoughts on that one?
I think it's absolutely hideous, but it's a Kimber. So people, I mean, it is. It's a dumb looking gun. I'm not a shade thrower. You know me. If it goes boom, I like it. If it's shiny, I like it. If it's matte black, I like it. So I mean, it's cool. It's a gun. I mean, would I want to shoot it? Heck yeah. But man, at first look, man, that thing looks like something from like a bad anime movie. I think the other two that they're offering look fantastic, but no, not that revolver. It's dumb looking. But some guy's going to get it and absolutely love it because it's a Kimber.
From what I understand, these revolvers are pretty freaking cool. They've also got an updated version, a fancy version of the Micro 9, which is their tiny little pocket 9mm carry gun. I would never recommend that particular gun for carry, but if you really, really want to have a Kimber carry gun, that might be a good option.
Why not? Why not? Why not carry a small Kimber for carry?
It's a small 1911. You're asking for problems. There are other small guns for way less money that are way more reliable and fantastic, like a Shield, the Glock 43, for God's sake. Both of those are fantastic options. But if you really want a metal little gun, that might be a good option. I don't know specifics on the reliability, but let's get to the one that's the most important. This is one I want to talk to John about in a second here. John, they've come out with a striker-fired gun. Kimber has come out with a striker-fired gun. They're calling it the Evo SP, and it's a small 9mm. It's got the safety dingus and the trigger that everybody's used to. It looks really interesting on the slide. Lots of texture, lots of cuts for lightening up the slide. Decent sights, I assume. Really, really interesting to see Kimber jumping into the striker fire market. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I think they're just honestly trying to expand their marketing base and get into that, like how you just talked about. There's maybe a really small 1911 isn't a good idea. And there's probably a lot of other people that think that too. And so they're coming out with another option. They can go, well, what about this? And that's basically what I see is going on. One of the things that is kind of interesting to me is how it really looks like they're trying to make it look like a 1911 a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining stuff, but that's what it seems like to me.
I suspect they sat around when this thing was being designed and went, well, that's not a Kimber. If it was probably slightly different looking, and they all just said, well, that's not a Kimber. It has to be a Kimber. Well, it's gotta look like a 1911, right? That's what Kimber does. That's what everybody knows us for. I personally would have loved to have seen them completely go off the reservation and come out with like a polymer frame gun. There are not a lot of details on these. It's all metal. They say that reduces muzzle rise. I say it adds weight. I think a small little 9mm is going to be a little bit flippy no matter what you do. There's no word on pricing yet. All three of these new guns, very, very cool. I'm excited about it. I think
I'd be really curious to see what that trigger feels like and see if they went
good
for
point.
Like a
Great point.
1911 type trigger, kind of like a Hudson H9, or whether they just, went full striker fired and it's got that, not the best trigger in the world that striker fires tend to have.
I think if they don't get that trigger right, it's going to be a big problem for that gun. I don't think it's going to say if they don't get it right.
Their customers expect certain features, and that's one that they will expect.
Regardless of the YouTube community bashing it, the P365 had a decent trigger. I don't know if that gun, they've corrected the reliability issues that everybody's reporting, but that gun had a decent trigger. And compared to this, I don't know. I don't know if that Kimber's got to be good for that price point. I guarantee that's over $1,000, and it's got to be good for that.
I would hope so. I mean, they spent a lot of extra time, machining time on that slide right there, so you're paying for that.
That's a good point. It probably takes forever. Again, for the listening audience, where you would normally see front and rear serrations, kind of slots in the slide, what we have on this slide is little like dimples. So they went in there and individually drilled out these little divots in those two places on the front and rear for grip texture. And John made a very good point. That really increases machine time. Very interesting. Johnny, any thoughts on that striker fire gun?
They look fantastic. I'm with you that for a carry gun, I'm going to get something much, much more reliable. If I'm going to, I've got no problem with Kimber, and if I'm going to put that much money into a Kimber, I want it to be big and giant and ridiculous and beautiful and something I can show off at the range and show my buddies. But for something I'm going to tuck, down in my britches, nah, probably not for me.
You're going to tuck it down in your britches? I like it. All right. We've got one more thing I want to get to real quick. Johnny, this is something you've been kind of getting into surplus guns as of late.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it's old, if it's a gun, I like it. But yeah, the older I get, the more I think I'm starting to look backwards. I'm 2 steps away from reading glasses and hearing aids. And I just like old stuff. And so this new one just came out. I have a couple comments on this, but John, kind of set it up for the audience with this 1911 situation.
So we've talked about this a little bit on TGC a while back. CMP, Civilian Marksmanship Program, I think is what it is. I'm not sure exactly which branch of the government has their hands in that, but essentially it's a way for civilians to go out and buy military surplus guns from the U.S. government. and there was a big stink. I believe it was Korea where all these guns came from.
G'day, mate.
Yeah, good one. I think there was this huge mountain of CMP 1911s, and people were really, really excited. Like, oh my God, when are they coming? How much are they going to cost? I mean, this is years in the making, and apparently they got way more requests for the guns than are guns available. Right? Am I getting that correct?
People went absolutely nuts. I even had one of my coworkers came to me during my 9 to 5 and he had a piece of paper and he was tapping it. He's like, "Oh my God, have you heard about this? The government's going to be passing out 1911s. All you got to do is give them all your money." And so I did what I always do is I go to Reddit and ask them for their opinion. And Reddit was talking about it and kind of sorting things out. And the bottom line is you got to shake those dice, blow on them and roll those dice because you don't know what you're getting, but you could get something really, really cool. But we had to order those guns. They had to order those guns before they even saw any of them. And turns out everybody and their mother and their cousin Rooster all ordered them, and the government can't keep up. Everybody's buying these things. Now, here's the deal. Here's what I have to say about it. I think it's kind of cool. I don't think you should take your grocery money off your kid's table to order this and say, this is going to be my #1 handgun for the rest of my life. No, this is discretionary income. Roll the dice. Laser Beam John, what do you think? I'd
agree with that. I mean, it's definitely a cool piece of history. And if I had the extra cash to throw at it, I'd for sure get one. I mean, I'm not a 1911 guy. I've said that already. But if I was going to get a 1911, it would be something from a better part of history.
Are you okay with rolling the dice?
Me, no. I am not a gambler. I'm kind of risk averse these days, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like when these first came out, I jumped over onto Gunbroker. I'm on Gunbroker probably 5 times a day, just looking at stuff and passing the time and pooping. And I thought y'all may joke at that. They made me laugh at that. That was supposed to be a joke.
Oh, I just thought we were just rolling with that one. I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it was a joke. Come on, people. Come on. But I jumped over to Gunbroker, and I was like, I'm casting pearls before swine here. I jumped over to Gunbroker, and you can get, there's plenty on the market. Like these are not some sort of holy grail 1911s. If you're excited about it, jump in there. It's kind of cool, but it's not like they're offering something that can't be had on the open market or out of your buddy Scooter's truck. I mean, these things are out there.
So let's rewind a second. The pricing for a rack grade, which is the bottom grade, was $850. For a field grade, it was $950, and for a service grade, it was $1,050.
And service grade ain't that great.
That's not the. I mean, the
quality of the gun. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough.
If you want a classic government property 1911, that's a decent way to get a hold of one, and it's cool that you got it directly from CMP. It didn't go through a bunch of people. If you want that kind of unfiltered direct path to a 1911, that's kind of cool.
What we haven't seen, I think all of our collectors, and that's a good question for the chat room. What's your favorite old gun? Something's got to be old. Any sort of old service guns? Sound off in the chat room. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But the thing with these imports and stuff, because these things left the country, who's bringing them back and how are they going to mark them? Because there are some dillweeds out there and some jackwagons that use that laser stamp and just destroy guns. There's some companies that really, I unboxed one yesterday and really dug underneath it. I had to look for the import mark and they hid it inside the gun. It took me like 7 screws to find it. So we'll see that maybe some moron marks out U.S. government and Colt on it and puts their own name on it. We'll see.
I would think whoever's doing that for the CMP is going to do a little bit better job than that, I hope.
Yeah, we'll see.
Speaking of doing a good job with lasers, dynamite segue, I have to say it. Dynamite.
That was better than my pooping comment.
John, I think we should take a minute and share with the audience about laser and kind of why it matters to shooters in general. I'm familiar with the product. I've seen it, years back when it was first coming out. What is laser and where's laser going? Talk to us about it.
So what laser is an app that you can put on any device, any phone, computer, tablet, and uses your built-in camera or preferably an external webcam on a computer You point that at whatever you're wanting to use as targets, and then you shoot at those targets with something that shoots a laser. Tons of different options for stuff that shoots lasers out there. The two common ones are SIRT pistols, which I think a decent number of the listeners are probably familiar with, but they're dedicated training pistols. And the other one are inserts for your real firearm that shoot a laser. What separates the laser software apart from similar ideas out there is that, one, we're the original. We were doing it before everyone else. And two, we're still doing it way better than everyone else. As far as where lasers going, because you asked that specifically, you heard me mention that any phone, tablet, computer, that's a relatively new development. We used to be Windows only because we were a desktop app. We're taking that desktop app functionality and we're making it available for literally any device for no increase in cost. It's the same price.
That's the thing that gets me really excited. You know, when we first met and were first chatting about the classic version, you know, it was a struggle. Like a lot of guys have Windows, and I was one of them. So I'm like, oh man, I'm pumped about this, but I want to see it expand. And you've gotten around and done that, and it works with the camera built into a phone. Is that correct?
It'll work with cameras built into a phone or iPad. Keep in mind, if your phone's a potato, it's going to run like a potato. You know, like my phone, my personal phone, I didn't spend very much money on it. It's a piece of junk. It doesn't run it very well. But I go grab like an iPhone 7. It runs great. So.
Yeah, and if you're a techie like me, I've got the XS Max because I have to have the newest, coolest iPhone. So I'm sure it'll run like a dream. I have a SIRT pistol sitting behind me in the background. I'm pumped about this, man. I think it's really, really interesting. I know you're working on updating it, and kind of because Laser X is like a kind of relatively new development for you guys. What features are in it that the Classic has, and what ones are you looking to add soon?
Obviously, you're looking at there are two big ones. Is obviously it's going to show you where you hit. Duh. The second one I've always considered really important because I consider it an essential training tool is that it's got a shot timer built in.
Oh, cool.
Okay. If you're not practicing with some time pressure, you're not really pushing yourself. You're just doing repetitions.
Okay.
If you really want to push yourself, you got to push for speed, I think. And we just released a new update the thing is, because this is our new focus, so there's going to be successive updates and new features and improvements. But we just released a new one that drastically increased the types of target zones that you can draw, so how you outline your targets, if you want to do that, or you can just draw a box to highlight them. And also added zooming and panning. So, you know, if you're a ways away from your targets, you can zoom in digitally. Next update, I don't know, maybe some clever user will decipher what's written on that board back there to see what we got planned for the next update. Or maybe people down in the chat, maybe if they already are familiar with Laser X, will tell us what they want to see in the next update.
Yeah, I think that'd be great to get some user feedback. I'm pumped about it. I love the fact that you can just point your phone at a wall now and grab the SIRT pistol and go to town and start training wherever. You know, for somebody like me, I travel a fair amount. So being able to just not have to no longer have to deal with a webcam and a laptop and blah, blah, blah. Like I can just throw my phone down, grab the SIRT pistol, and rock and roll in a hotel, my bedroom, the bathroom. It doesn't matter. And I love that.
Yeah. Well, one of the good things I should mention there is you talk about, you know, you're on the road a lot and you need to use your phone. Well, what about when you are home and maybe you'd rather use your computer because you've got some friends over? It's the same app. You don't have to buy two different things. It's cool. The same app. You can access it on both devices.
That's rad. Really smart. Johnny, do you have any questions for John about this? I know you're not huge into super duper tactical Timmy stuff. What do you think, man?
You know, I think that's fair because I'm tactical soccer dad. I am into firearms, absolutely, but I'm not going to sit down with a little timer and go, wow, guys, I got 0.7 seconds faster. However, I have done interior training, and here's my question for you, John, because I'm going to be talking here in a few minutes about make me better. That's one of my questions whenever I meet new people. So that's the first time I ever got to meet you. I know who you are, absolutely, and I know your company, but I've never got to talk to you. Make me better. So can you make me better as a maybe here's where I'm at as a shooter. When I go out with my friends, I'm absolutely the best one there. When I'm hanging out with guys in the industry, I'm clearly the worst one there. So can you make me better? Because you are a professional trainer.
Can I make you better?
Yes, right now, make me better.
No, you got to make yourself better.
Ooh.
You have to have that drive to improve. All right. I can put a shot timer in your hand. I can yell at you all day long, but if you don't have it in you that you want to get better, you aren't going to, or any minor improvements that you do see are going to be very temporary.
Do you do that thing that they do on Instagram where you get a broom handle and then you get behind people that are training and then hit them with a broom handle like they do on Instagram? Because that to me looks like real training. It's just like I can get me a vest and then get hit with somebody with a broom handle. Can you do that for me?
I have to be honest, I have not seen that. Probably the closest thing I've done to that is just yell at people. I was an instructor for the Army Reserves for a few years. And I got to yell at a lot of people, so that was fun. No, what I would, if I were you, what I'd suggest is go shoot a match.
Interesting. I shot a match recently. It was one of my only, like I haven't shot a ton of matches, and I learned a lot about not just like shooting, but myself and how I handle the situations and how I'm assessing which target to shoot first and when to pull the trigger, when I feel like I've got good sight picture, good sight alignment, all those fundamentals. And I don't know, man. I don't want to sit here and try and lecture the audience on training and all that, but I think this is a really interesting way to get out there and get training more.
Yeah, and
very cool.
Best thing with the laser software is you can maintain that training. You don't always have to be at the range to do it. You definitely still want to go to the range, but you can maintain that training on the road, at home, wherever. All right, that's enough plug.
We appreciate you, John. I'm really glad that we got you on the show tonight. It's a wonderful thing to finally get to like hang out. We never do, so this is fun. This is fun. And guys, that brings us to halftime. You guys know what halftime is. It's time to support our sponsors like they support us. First up, we've got NEOMAG, the makers of one of the coolest ways to hold your pistol magazine in your pocket with the NEOMAG magnetic pocket holster clip thing. I don't know what to call it. It's a very, very specific product. Very cool. Basically, you clip it over your jeans pocket, and it's got a magnet in there, so it holds your magazine deep in the pocket, very concealed. You don't have to worry about it being on your belt and being a tactical Timmy. This is for the gray man, the guy that doesn't want to be seen with what he's doing. Also, they have an extended clip version, the Extendo clip. Got that Extendo, so you can use the magazine extensions in your pocket, have a huge backup mag, and that is really, really cool. If you want to get 10% off over at theneomag.com, use the code TGC 2018, 10% off. Go do it. Johnny, who's our other sponsor tonight?
The sponsor tonight is Blue Alpha Gear. Is that correct? Is it Blue Alpha Gear?
No, they're a normal sponsor. It's actually the TGC Patreon.
Sponsor? They're a normal sponsor. Well, you know what? I want to throw out a shout out to Blue Alpha Gear anyway. Kurt is in the chat room, so a big hello to him. And also TGC Patreon. Now, here's a really, really cool one. Every month, TGC gives away a gun, and today was the day. I'm getting ready to ask you a question about next month, John. So get ready. But you can get in on the TGC Patreon at the $1 or the $5 level, and all it is a way to say, "Hey guys, thanks for what you're doing. Appreciate you. Keep going, keep going." It's just a way to support TGC. I don't make a thing from that, but in the $5 level or above, every month TGC gives away a rad gun. This month, and it's already been given away, so sorry, but it was the FN 509 Tactical with an entire package, concealed carry package from Hidden Hybrid Holsters. Now, that one is gone. That was doggone cool. John, what is the gun for next month? Have you figured it out yet?
I don't know yet. That's the thing. I was so focused on getting this 509 out. This thing is super, super rad. Really, really good quality holster. One of the better hybrid holsters that I've ever seen, which is saying something. And of course, the 509 with the fanciness that it comes with. I'm pumped on that. I don't know exactly what we're going to do next month. I want to mix it up, maybe do something 50 state legal. We get a lot of folks in California that watch and care about what we do. So I want to make sure that we get it out there. Maybe we'll do a shotgun. We haven't done a shotgun yet. Just did a lever gun. We've done pistols, maybe a bolt action rifle. We've done that too. I don't know yet. Maybe we'll give away multiple guns. We'll see. We're going to decide in the next couple days. If you guys out there are watching and you have a suggestion for what you want us to give away, serious suggestions are welcome. And yeah, just drop them in the comments. Send it to me on Patreon. Send me an email, whatever you want to do. Johnny, let's keep it rolling. Let's get back to the show. you've got a couple things you want to talk about. Let's do it.
Yeah, I got several things I want to say. Now, I don't know if everybody in the chat room, by the way, chat room's blowing up, and I love the whole section about what surplus rifles and guns people were doing. Some things in there were kind of standard, and they're standards for a reason. Some things really surprised me in there. So those guys in there are having fun. And hey, guys, if you're listening to this down the road, if you're not being able to check this out live, a big hello to everybody that's listening to this on recording on the podcast. Now, here's something I want to say, and some people may not really realize this. I watch gun prices every day. I watch the deals. I watch the market, and so do a lot of you guys. But we right now, I'm going to throw this out there. We are in the good old days of pricing. Everything has dipped down right now. I saw this week an AR-15 brand spanking new at $299. And so right now prices are low. Now, in all things, the pendulum will swing. We had Bill Clinton for 8 years. Holy smokes. Then we had the cowboy. Hello, America. We had him for 8 years. And then we had Obama for 8 years. And now we've got Trump for at least 4. And prices with that swing back and forth. So right now, while we are on the cheap side, how should we approach this time right now? Because people go nuts and try to buy when the prices go up, and you can't even get 22 ammo there for like 8 months here, at least where I live. But right now, here's the question. I'd like to hear from both of you guys. What should we be doing as gun owners and enthusiasts and hobbyists right now while stuff is cheap? Patton, go.
Dude, you should be buying ammunition. Like guns are always available. If you want to buy lowers and things like that, you want to buy a $300 AR, go do it, but buy ammo. You know, that's the one thing, you know, when we were under pressure politically and the prices were going up and up and up and up and up, one of the most common things that people asked me was, are we ever going to see 9mm prices go back down? And shockingly enough, they have. I've seen boxes of 50 rounds of 9mm for like $8 and $9 for good quality ammo. So go buy a ton of it, because I guarantee you there will be legislation coming. There will be some anti-gun nonsense that puts pressure back on us. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. You know, people say, oh, when are we going to get our gun rights back? We're still fighting to keep the ones we have. We're barely holding on. So go buy ammo. And, you know, consider maybe buy a gun or two, but really dive into ammo. You could also take it as an opportunity to stock up if you want to go take training, if you want to go shoot matches, all those sorts of things that you're thinking about getting into. Prepare yourself. Give yourself the bandwidth over the next couple years. Stock up. Stack, you know, I guarantee you could easily, most folks with a day job, a full-time day job, could afford a case of 9mm, 1,000 rounds of 9mm. You could go do it. So go do it. John, what do you think, man?
I'd say, does anybody, you guys remember when PMags were going for $100 a piece?
I absolutely remember that.
Yeah. Man, I wish I had a box of PMags.
I think everybody does.
I will mention, in addition to what you said, I'd say magazines too, in seriousness. Because you can get them cheap right now too. You can find PMags for, I've seen them like 12, 13, 14 bucks on sale right now.
I saw a 33 round, a knockoff brand Glock mags, 33 rounders for $10 today.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. There was a drum mag in that same, I think it was Classic Firearms drum mag in that same email for $40, a 50 round drum mag for Glocks, $40. Oh my God.
But here's the question. In that email from Classic, was Sweaty Ben, was there a big picture of Ben all sweaty in it?
I did not look. I don't scroll that far in those emails. Is that guy sweaty? What happened?
No, he's always sweaty. In the on the internet, whenever they talk about prices at Classic, they always say Sweaty Ben special, because he does those unboxings in his warehouse, and it's like 90 degrees down there in Greenville. And so they call it the Sweaty Ben special. But boy, does he got the prices.
If he wasn't sweaty, I want my money back.
Johnny, I want to turn this one around on you. What do you think people should be buying? Is it just ammo and mags, or is there something else that we've kind of missed on this one?
I think for me, because, and this is a really cool thing about you, Patton, is that you get to deal with what's right on the cutting edge at all times. So you're dealing with brand spanking new guns. Like, I already know some of the stuff that's come in the mail to you this week, and it's just stupid, and I'm angry about it. I think for me, like a regular guy who's not a part of the industry, there's always 2 or 3 that are just kind of right on my radar. And I think for me, during this, while the pendulum has swung, get a couple guns and I'm thinking guns. I know the other stuff and the ammo is really important in the magazines too, but get a couple guns that are just on your wish list and in your heart. And because maybe when those things double, you may not have the discretionary income, especially people that live in the real world will not be able to go get. So I think maybe a toy, if there's a toy that's on your list, or just something that's just stupid, it's going to be a good season for that right now.
Yeah. It's also, I mean, if you're, I think the lowest of the low as far as availability, I think that market is the AR-15 market. I don't know that like Glocks haven't dropped drastically, you know, pistols haven't, because those sales have been steady. So guys that have, you know, pallets of these cheap AR-15s, they're trying to get rid of them. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a good time to stock up and maybe get some bones for your next build, you know, so you don't have to buy. You know, if you want to go build up on something, go buy something cheap to start with.
Yeah, and I think the bottom line is we're in a really good season. I think it's good for people to stop and go, wow, things are really, really good in some ways in the gun industry right now. I know there's a mess and other things, but price-wise, it's really, really a good season. All right, got a brand new segment that I want to drop on you guys called, and I hinted to it a moment ago, called Make Me Better. I live, again, in the real world, and I am doing stuff in the day-to-day world like a lot of regular folks are, and I want John Patton, you and other John, Laserbeam John, to make me better and maybe make our audience better. You've worked at a gun store. You've been in 100 gun stores. I've been in a gazillion gun stores. Make me better at picking a gun store.
That's an interesting question. I don't know that there is an ultimate way, like when you're just driving down the road. I don't think there's a better way to pick one than just go in and experience it. But you want to pick a place, at least for like a regular store, that has, I hinted to this in TGC News the other day when I was talking about trainers. You've got to find people that speak to you and your values. So if it's a shop that's all about, competition shooting, and you don't care about competition, maybe it's not the right place. You know, and I've found that each shop kind of has their home where the owners have positioned the shops to be a certain kind of store. Like we have a place that's all about competition stuff, and they make bullets, and they kind of have a bunch of people that come in and out of there that are all about, you know, IDPA and USPSA and that sort of thing. But if you're like me, you don't necessarily care about that as much. So I would personally go to try and find a shop that has maybe more new and cool stuff, or maybe some suppressors and NFA stuff. You know, that's the kind of stuff that I'm into and I enjoy personally. So that's probably what I would look for. And on top of that, and I think John would agree with this big time, is find a place where the customer service is above all else. Above all else, that matters. Because if the customer service sucks and you got to deal with them after the purchase, forget it. You're done. You're just going to hate yourself for it. John, what do you think?
I'd agree with that. Here's what I'd do. I'd take your wife or girlfriend or whatever, or boyfriend, I don't care.
Partner, it's partner.
Take your significant other into the shop, or if you are a female, just go into the shop and play dumb and act like, find a salesman and ask them what kind of gun should she get, what kind of gun should she get, and see what they say. And I think you can tell a lot by a gun shop and the environment, the sales environment within a gun shop by what they tell you.
That's a really, really good suggestion. A
little stupid pocket gun that's going to flip and be really hard to shoot, or are they suggesting a 22 because women's wrists are too weak? And I've heard that. I've heard this in person at gun shops before. I'm not going to say which one, but I've heard it. And to me, that'll tell you a lot about how well you can trust the people who work at that gun shop to give you relevant information. And it ties into customer service, because if the customer service people are going to bullshit you, they'll rip you off too.
Yeah, very good point.
Yeah, it's complicated. I mean, going into a gun shop, I even have feelings, and I feel pretty comfortable going into a gun shop, but I still get the whole I don't know what to do with my hands, standing there waiting on these morons to walk up and say, what you're really looking at there, Skippy. And I'm like, dude, I know more than you. Just stop. All right, up next, make me better. John, I buy a lot of used guns, and you've been dabbling on the old gun broker lately. Tips, make me better at shopping for new guns.
Dude.
Or, no, just kidding. Used guns.
Used guns. Okay.
Used guns.
So the used gun market is very strange. It favors the educated in a lot of ways. I am, I think the audience probably understands this by now, that my purchases are not the bog standard. And in that, I think it's just a matter of finding exactly what you like, or if you're on Gunbroker, waiting for it. A lot of guys will go, oh man, I really want this. This doesn't have everything I want, but I'm going to buy it anyway because I'm impatient. And, we're used to instant gratification. But the reality is, if you're looking for something very specific and it's not out there, give it some time. Like, for instance, I have been for a long time. I missed out on a gun that was very common on Gunbroker probably 5 or 6 years ago, called the LAR Grizzly, and it was a modified version with a comp and some other wacky stuff. So the LAR Grizzly is it's like a giant 1911 chambered in 50 Action Express. So think of it like a 1911/Desert Eagle baby. Really interesting gun. They also sell it in 45 Win Mag, right? Super interesting. But they're not super common, and it comes in waves. So know what you want, understand what's available, and then try and find that in a price point that makes sense to you and reflects market value. I think that's kind of the best all-encompassing way to decide how to purchase a used gun. Because a lot of times, especially on Gunbroker, it's kind of sight unseen. And while the pictures sometimes are decent, and you can always ask for more, I don't think that's asking for too much. Don't be afraid to do that. I think it's important to understand what's coming with that gun and what you're really getting into.
I do want to say this about used guns is that a lot of, Arms List is different in different areas. It's kind of the Craigslist for guns, but Arms List is really active in some areas, not active in others. My area, Arms List is hopping 10 to 50 new guns every day, but you can do a national search on Arms List, and a lot of, individuals aren't going to ship to you, but a lot of gun stores have their stuff, and FFL guys have their stuff on Arms List and not on Gunbroker. And I found some really good stuff, but to your point of looking for specific stuff, I'm looking for an Israeli Mauser right now, a K98 with an IDF stamp on it. And I'm having to be patient, dude, because there's some out there that are just rough, and I almost pulled the trigger on one the other day, and just, I'm glad I didn't, because I want one with the better IDF stamp. John, tell me about the laser beam. John, tell me about your used gun buying tips.
Oh, from my experience buying used guns, don't. No.
I didn't go get my World War II guns. Go get a brand new one. Can you give me a brand new K31? I'm all ears.
My big thing, and you both kind of hit on this already, but I'd say it's like shopping for anything else. Patience, especially on the used market. You start getting that Mauser, the IDF Mauser that has just crap stamp that you can't hardly see, and might be fake. Who knows? And eventually it's going to eat at you, and you're going to be like, oh man, I wish I had held out for something a little better, or a little cheaper, a little bit better deal. So just patience, unless it's something that you need right now, and in that case, maybe consider buying it new.
You know what? I'm going to show you guys something. I don't remember if I showed this.
Am I going to be angry? Is this my chance to be mad?
No, I think I showed this last week. It's a little Smith & Wesson 22. This was kind of me not being patient, but it's still a cool gun. I saw these and I was like, I'm going to jump all over that, because Eric and Chad made a video about the big brother to these things. And I was like, I want to have a tiny one. And I found this thing through some journeying on the internet. And this was a small, simple, cheap used gun. This was like $300. And you can get some really cool stuff just by waiting around for something interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, make me better. John, Patton, you are all sorts of into this entire YouTube world and social media world, and all of the exchanges between creators and viewers and audience members. Plus, right in the middle of this, even in our chat room tonight, there's manufacturers. So it's a mess, and a lot of opinions, a lot of communication back and forth. I also, just like you, am also a consumer of people's gun channels and I'm in their comment section, make me a better viewer, consumer, participant, or an active typer in the tactical keyboard game. Make me better at consuming and being a member of the gun community online.
Are you speaking? I want to clarify.
How do I not be a jerk in the comment section?
Pay attention, understand what's actually taking place. I think a lot of people, and this kind of applies across the internet. People just look at the screen, and because that's on a screen, there's a disconnect of that's another person. And I think if we're able to knock that wall down and go, oh, that dude went through the ringer trying to get this video done or something like that, I think that kind of helps understanding, what goes into it, but also just have a conversation. I think so many guys are in the comment section trying to be the most knowledgeable dude on the internet and just correct everything. Like, well, actually, you see the Glock is actually based on the patent number and the 45 and blah, blah, blah. Like, nobody cares. One more thing. If you are the guy that will either copy paste a comment
wall of text,
or you type out for 10 minutes. This is speaking specifically on TGC videos. If you are going to sit there and type out a paragraph after paragraph after paragraph, I guarantee you I will read the first few lines and then stop. I do not have time to read your diatribe about some political nonsense that you don't actually understand. That's how you get better. Pay attention, be a person, have a conversation.
I think more than just reading the first two lines, I think you'll also screenshot it and send it to me, and then I'll laugh at that guy behind his back, like pretty openly, especially if it's another creator just being a moron. I go, the more I type and the more I type in all caps, I'm really going to exact some change. Let's talk about customers.
Hold on. Yeah. Shout out to live chat, Alexander Holiday. Actually, John, no one in this chat is doing that. Please see this Wikipedia article for proof. Oh, perfect. Well played.
I don't know Alexander, but I love him. He is my spirit animal for tonight. I absolutely love it. All right, we've mentioned customer service several times. Laser Beam John, which I hope you were 3% offended at me calling you that just a little bit. I hope it bothers you just ever so slightly. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Laser Beam John. All right, let me ask you this, because you've mentioned a couple times a little about customer service. Make me a better consumer in the firearms industry.
Oh boy, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
In the firearms industry as a whole, I would say.
Oh, you stumped him. That's good. I like this.
You kind of hit me out of left field there. I was expecting a different question. Dang it. What I would say is take the time to do. I don't want to be this way, but do your own research. And realize that anytime that a company is wowing you with a big giveaway or wowing you with a really fancy booth setup at SHOT Show that costs $20,000, realize you're helping pay for that.
So you're saying that all those patches at the Geisley table, like their swag up, like their swag is like 8 inches deep. That's not free? I thought that was from Obama. Those are my Obama patches.
And I would say a lot of people would. The industry as a whole would benefit from that if people did realize that all that flash and all that pizzazz does cost money, and that money does come from somewhere. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
What's the worst? No names, but what's the worst customer situation you've gotten into? Biggest moron you've dealt with?
I've never dealt with a true moron. Pretty much everything.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I do our web design, and our website is our store. That's our outward facing thing. So if there is a problem, it is genuinely my fault. I could do something better. Probably the biggest issue that we have faced, though, with people with the laser software, apparently they go to the website, they don't read anything or watch any videos. They instead make stuff up in their head. They purchase, which is great. I love having customers, don't get me wrong. They purchase, they get it home, and they can't get it to work, and the reason is because they're trying to use a projector.
Okay, and absolutely
nowhere in any of our material does it say anything about using a projector? But because some other, you know, $2,000, $6,000, $10,000 systems out there do, and the laser software is $120, do use that, they think that it does. And that's like one where I don't know how to fix that, because we've already fixed that, you know, where all our marketing material is accurate. So you asked for the worst one, and that's probably the worst one, I'd say.
Well, I think that's really funny, seeing a piece of software that is based on incoming video, thinking that little webcam is like a projector in the image, and that it's outward.
It has happened. My webcam is not projecting any targets.
Funny story. Did you know that all microphones can also be speakers in and out? Huh. You're all better for that.
Actually, microphones go both ways.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's
well,
great.
that ends the November 8th, 2018 Make Me Better section. And we're going to do that hopefully anytime I get to be on here, because I'm always wanting to learn. I love hearing what people have to say, and I want to get better whenever I hang out with anybody. John, what you got next?
Dude, it's coming to the end. I want to make sure that all the people that are out here watching us on a regular basis, huge shout out to everybody that cares and pays attention. You know, the TGC Surplus channel is a newer thing, and the people are watching and enjoying. And I think it's been a great decision to kind of split things up, and I love it. I love the fact that people are here and care about what we're doing. I love the fact that John was able to join us. It's fantastic to have a different voice in here, and especially somebody that has experience that neither one of us has. I had no idea he was a PRS shooter. This is the kind of value that I love seeing people bring to the podcast. And unfortunately, we got to wrap it up, guys. John, is there anything you want to say to the audience? By the way, somebody's asking for a TGC discount code. I think we can work on that. What do you think?
Yeah, discount code TGC. It'll be up in a few minutes.
Ha! There you go. Look at that.
That's customer service right there, fellas.
Yeah, we can do that. TGC, just all three letters. Make sure to enter it before checkout, though, because we can't apply it afterwards.
Okay, so TGC, all three letters. Not so when it's TGC, I don't just type TG and stop.
I'm just trying to avoid issues, man. I'm just trying to make sure the customer gets what they want. That's what I do.
Awesome. Well, there you go. That's incredible. Thank you for that. I know the audience is really going to like that. Is there anything else you want to say to these guys? Anything you want to comment before we roll?
Just don't get complacent. You know, we just lost the gun-friendly side of the house. Just lost control of the house. I don't want to get too political here, but don't get complacent. Like John was saying earlier, that pendulum will swing.
It's coming. It's coming. Johnny, is there anything you want to add before we bounce out of here tonight?
I want to say this, Black Friday is coming up. I have several different build projects that are, this one's on hold and that one's on hold. So get your list together, people, because there's going to be some serious sales. I know a lot of folks in the industry on YouTube that talk about this stuff. They don't pay for their stuff. But us real people, like, I've got my list and I can't wait. These triggers are going to be on sale. So get ready for Black Friday, people. Also, I want to end with two words: laser beams.
Laser beams. All right, that's it. Shout out to NEOMAG and the TGC Patriots. You guys know where they're all about. You guys understand it because you are awesome. And as always, thanks for coming along. We'll see you very soon.